So here's our new used Holley 600 CFM Performer with an electric choke that we're going to be installing on the Squarebody today. So the reason we're installing a new carburetor is that this has the intake choke, and the intake is blocked off, so it can't use the heat from the intake to operate the choke. So we're going to go to electric choke Holley. Plus, this carburetor, I believe, is plugged up, and I'm tired of screwing with it. So, obvious first step is we gotta get this old carburetor disconnected and off the truck. First thing we're gonna do is remove this fuel line. Make sure you have a container handy to catch all the gas. Next, I'm going to start removing all the bolts around the carburetor. There's 4, 2 up and 2 down. This fuel line just kept on leaking, so I ended up kicking it over. Eventually I'll end up putting a bolt in it with a clamp. Next, I'm going to go ahead and remove these rubber vacuum lines. Here I'm removing the back vacuum hose that goes to the brake booster. And now removing the last 2 bolts in the back of the carb. I accidentally forgot to disconnect the throttle cable here. After removing the carburetor, I ended up using red Scotch-Brite to clean up the surface and get it ready for the adapter plate. So the reviews for this plate were right. The Allen screws are too short. The plate's 3/4 inches and so are the screws. So I ended up having to go to Lowe's to get 1-inch Allen screws to put this plate on. The hex head screws for the carburetor were the correct size. It was just the Allens that needed to be replaced. So here I'm preloading the hex head bolts with the nuts before I put the plate on the manifold. That way the nuts will already be on there, because you can't get around the ends of the manifolds to put the nuts in after the plate's attached. I found that out the hard way, so I had to take it back off and go ahead and preload these bolts and nuts and then put the Allens in and attach it to the intake. And now it's time to install the carb. Once I get these 4 bolts in, then we'll start putting everything back on just like we took it off. We'll have to adapt a few things, like the throttle cable, We'll have to get a new gas line because the 6 gas line doesn't connect the same way the other one did, and a few other things like that. But here it's hard to see, but I'm putting the throttle bracket back on, and you gotta use the back driver's side bolt to hold it up. I had to do some adjusting too because this carburetor was totally different, but it wasn't too big of a deal. It was pretty easy to figure out. So here I had to modify the brake booster vacuum line. The old carburetor had the kind with a nut. This one just has a regular hose input, so basically I ended up cutting this off instead of fighting with it and just replacing it with a 3/8 rubber hose. And finally I hook up my distributor vacuum line. And lastly my fuel line. I didn't get it on video, but I did the initial setup on the carburetor. Throttle back 1 full turn, side fuel at 1.5 turns, etc. There's a lot of videos on YouTube that'll show you how to get that first start set up. I'm planning on finally adjusting it in a future video. Let's see if it starts. This was a huge win for me. It took me all weekend to go through all the fuel system. It's been a couple weeks in the making, and have this thing finally start up and drive out. Just made my day. If you like this video, please hit that like button and support the channel. If you want to see future videos like this on this K10 project, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.
Like and subscribe.